Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is the future prophecies of Taiwan. Everything seems to be pointing to Taiwan. All of the prophecies say that's the next big thing to watch for. And I'm talking about in regards to the fall of America. Yes, the dollar's about to fall, and there's a whole lot of other things coming. But in terms of war, the thing to watch right now is Taiwan. That's what the prophecies say. So let's get into it. Now, this is back in November of last year, 2022. NATO is running out of arms to send to Ukraine as Putin exhausts the globalist war machine. Do you recall just a few weeks ago, Vicky Goforth Parnell had a dream in which she was shown that this is the plan of Putin to get all of America and NATO to shoot as many of their weapons, to use them up against Ukraine, as many as possible. All the time he's using his old technology weapons, World War II weapons we know about, to exhaust the arsenals of both America and NATO. This is what the article says. NATO is running out of weapons to send to Ukraine. That's part of the plan. The mighty United States has only limited stocks of weapons, the article says. The West is now poorer and less safe as a result of their intervention in Russia. That was spoken of by Vicky Goforth Parnell, and now we see it in an article. But there's more. There's another article. I didn't bother posting all of the text. We don't need it. Headline says U.S. announces another $345 million in military aid package. This one's going to Taiwan. Now, the point is, so have you heard any articles that America has really stepped up building this war machine? That we're making more bullets, we're making more missiles, we're making more nuclear weapons? Because I haven't. All I've heard is that America is going down. We're sending all of our weapons over to Ukraine and now Taiwan. You recall, I just read this a couple of weeks ago. 7:13. I'm not going to read the whole thing. This is Vicky Goforth Parnell again. And she says, so I'm sleeping. All of a sudden, I hear an audible voice. I sit straight up in bed. This is what she heard. Shout the alarm. Have it declared. You're safe with me is all declared. Now, then she heard, Taiwan has fallen. Okay, the bullets haven't arrived, but what she was told is Taiwan has already fallen. In other words, in the spirit, it's already a done deal, just a matter of time. Next article says U.S. is implementing a plan to evacuate Americans from Taiwan. Now, this is back in June of 2023. You see, I really believe that the American government, or the Molochs, have a time machine. We know that they have a looking glass. We know that they can see into the future. So I believe that they know that this is coming, but I believe that they're also cooperating with it because, again, the objective of Molochs is to take down America, the world's police officer, the wall standing between their world government and putting their man, the Antichrist, on the throne. The article says the Biden government is further refining evacuation plans for American citizens living in Taiwan. Planning has been underway for at least 6 months. And there's more than 80,000 Americans in Taiwan. Why are they evacuating? Because they know that Taiwan is about to be attacked, and they probably already know that Taiwan is going to fall. 11 signs that global conflict could soon spiral completely out of control. And I'm not going to cover all of them, don't have to. My point is down in the big text. It says, U.S. Taiwanese officials have reportedly been talking about bringing Taiwan under the nuclear umbrella of the United States. In other words, kind of into NATO and that sort of thing. Of course, it goes on to say such a move would make war with China even more likely. On to the next one. Now let's jump to Dana Coverstone. I've had Dana Coverstone in my home 2 times. We've had him speak at least twice at our solemn September assemblies. I know him. I've hugged his neck. I've prophesied over him. And I know he's hearing from God. I know he's hearing from God. And somebody would say, yeah, well, not everything he said has come to pass. Well, a lot of times there are warnings, just like was given to Jonah. God doesn't want to bring the judgment. Instead, he wants us to pray and fast, turn from a wicked way so we can heal our land and save us. So I do believe Coverstone's hearing from God. Now, my point is I want to make here, and for you to get this one, I've kind of got to read most of the dream, but it's important. I dreamed that I was watching a large passenger plane with an American flag on its tail wing. Now, this is simply God, the eyes of God, looking down on America and our reaction to things that are coming. It began a slight to normal descent. The people on board through the windows appeared unafraid. So this is the times past and what we're just coming into now. They're reading magazines, listening through headphones, resting and sleeping. Most Americans are in what they call cognitive dissonance. They are not believing any trouble is coming. Go ahead, ask them. Just walk up to the average American and say, well, do you think Russia's ever going to attack America? No. You think America's going to fall? No. They'll never believe it. They won't believe it till basically it happens. That's paragraph 1. Now, paragraph 2. Suddenly, heavy on the word suddenly the plane did a nosedive, straight down, meaning when America falls, it is a boom, a straight down nosedive. The people on board made no changes in their activity. I think that the plane has started to do this. Okay, it hasn't started to fall yet, but I mean it's doing this. All right. Yet Americans are doing nothing. Sad to say, there's a lot of prophecy students that are listening to me, but they're not preparing. For example, they're not calling cornerstoneassetmetals.com and saying, "Look, I got some money in the bank. I don't want to lose it. What do you suggest I do?" Or they're not going to EMPShield.com and getting one of these, which I just happen to have on my desk right here, put it on their car, one on their house, so that when the suitcase nukes go off, they still have electricity. They still have a car that starts. They haven't gone to josephkitchen.com. They haven't got them. They listen. I think sometimes they go, well, let's sit back and watch and see if it happens. Yeah, well, I'm sorry, but by the time it happens, it'll be too late. Suddenly, the plane did a nosedive straight down. The people on board made no changes in their activity. Naval ships around aimed heavy caliber weapons at Taiwan, drawing closer to the nation. I saw military leaders in China pushing military pieces on a table planning map. There were radio communications and leadership sitting near a red button. There was angry speech and pounding of fists on the table. The Chinese leader was also staring at a phone in his hand and rocking nervously in an old-fashioned American rocking chair that did not fit the decor in the room, meaning he's angry, he's thinking about pushing that button. Then I saw a table set beside St. Basil's Cathedral near the Kremlin. Putin and his military leaders were having a picnic with empty wine bottles, not vodka bottles, wine bottles on the table. Putin was holding his side in pain and not drinking. He had a cell phone in his hand and was staring at it while sitting in the same kind of rocking chair as the Chinese leader, meaning they're both very angry at what they see. Putin was very calm and relaxed and untouched by the boisterous generals around him. The scene changed. Here's the point you got to look at. European leaders were discussing the surrounding of Taiwan and what should be done to help them. Now, what they come up with? Basically, let the U.S. handle it. The decision was made not to let the world leaders of the United States, let me try it again. The decision was made to let the world leaders of the United States and Britain handle the crisis as they had faith in that plan. Each of the leaders stood and shook hands while wiping the sweat from their brow. Then I saw a split screen of both the Chinese leader and Putin. Both hit send on their phones at the very same time, meaning apparently they're going to attack both at the same time. Now, let me just say that's not what Dmitry Duduman was told. The leaders then casually shut their eyes and began to go to sleep. The Navy ships quickly turned away from Taiwan. I saw many missiles raining down upon Ukraine. It was a larger issue than reported in the news. Okay, right now, many of the sources are saying the missiles are now raining down on Ukraine, and the other sources saying it is worse than what the news is reporting. Matter of fact, if you watch Fox News, they've got to where they don't even talk about Ukraine anymore. Which, by the way, I have to force myself to watch Fox News. I think it is what you call controlled news. I think they are owned by the Molochs, controlled by them, and they still aren't telling us the truth. I saw large missile silos all over the western Russia uncovered and smoke coming out, but no launch took place. One large rocket launched from a Chinese ship headed east from Taiwan. That may mean that they've already taken over Taiwan at hypersonic speed, but the trajectory stopped over the middle of America. Now, apparently, God stops it. In other words, it's not time yet. The plane of the first part of the dream dropped below the lowest clouds. I saw land patterns on the ground below. There was an explosion just above the plane, and it lost all power. I think that's probably the EMP burst. Remember, Warren Sklar saw in a vision that there were 3 EMP bursts, which are nuclear bombs, specifically designed to put off a high electromagnetic pulse rather than fire and things like that. And he saw them, 3 of them, one over the east, one over the central, one over the west part of America. And they all went off pretty much at the same time. Then he saw all of the electricity go off all across America, which is why I recommend you go to solarsurge.net. Solarsurge.net. Joe Ordia, good friend of mine, helped me get my system. I'm telling you, I'd recommend you seriously look at getting some kind of a solar system. Anyway, there was an explosion just above the plane, and it lost all power. That's an EMP bomb. The first time the descent was directed by the pilot, but now the lights inside the plane went out. People became aware that their music had stopped and the TVs were off, and they were looking at the windows in shock. That's an EMP attack. Again, get one of these, EMPShield.com. And if you use the promo code Prophecy, that'll get you a $50 discount. There was screaming and beating on the pilot's door in absolute panic. Then it went completely dark. As the plane was going straight down, the man I always see, meaning the angel, was sitting next to the window unafraid. He said out through the window to me, I told them to pray, but they did not. Now they need to take it seriously. Then he disappeared. And that's the reason I'd recommend you join Fast Gap, which is a group of people. I just looked. We have about 750 people on the group now. We fast and pray for America. We do the fast beginning Tuesday evening at midnight until Wednesday afternoon at 4 p.m. Not a difficult fast. And you can quit anytime you want to. My promise is I never ask you for donations. I never send product offers. This is only for people that want to fast and pray for America. Here's how you join. Go to prophecyclub.com. Slide to the bottom. You'll see right there, Fast Gap, how you can sign up. And by the way, if you sign up for Fast Gap, you might also sign up for Fast Track. It's the same fast, but this time you're fasting and praying for Prophecy Club to do all of the winning the souls, all the things God has called us to do. So I'd invite you to sign up for both of them. A lot of people do. Anyway, let's go on. All right, now let's go back to Vicky Goforth Parnell. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I just want to make my point where she talks about Taiwan. So she says, I looked back at the black and white tabletop map, and I saw war steps. Now, I believe what this dream, definitely from God, I believe it is showing us the steps. I believe there's 7, might be 6. We'll check in a second. These are the steps leading to the Russians attacking America. So if you want to know when the Russians are going to attack, this is one of the things you look at. Now remember, Dmitry was sold some things to watch for. However, Leslie's is the most credible, in my opinion, and it's the most specific to watch for. And we're not there yet, but this tells you just how close we are. So anyway, war steps. She says, Lord, what are these numbers I see displayed? They're running from 1 to 6. So these are 6 steps leading to the fall of America. Daughter, they run from 6 down to 1. For this is the beginning of the war steps until your once great nation is struck. Oh no. Daughter, you know man has failed to repent of their sins and turn back to me. This is part of the forewarned and foretold judgment. I know. I respond sadly and heavily hearted. Tell me, daughter, what do you see? Okay, Jesus, my love, if we are counting down, then I see Kazakhstan with an orange 6. Upon it, Ukraine has a purple number 5. Taiwan, which is a subject today, has a yellow number 4. And I see Japan with a green number 3, but Jesus, my love, number 2 has 2 locations. There's a blue number 2 on both Hawaii and Guam. Why is that? Little daughter of faith, once Taiwan is invaded by the King of the East, with China's forces, Japan will retaliate quickly. So will your United States. But not before China strikes upon Japan. With your military forces speeding to help Taiwan and Japan, China's forces, with others, shall attack the U.S. territories of Hawaii and Guam. Now, this is what we really need to look at. You need to grab a piece of paper and a pencil and write there, maybe a pen, maybe chisel it into granite, these 6 things to watch for. So it's saying that the war with Kazakhstan, you see, Ukraine is really part of Kazakhstan, has already taken place. Ukraine, we can check that off. That war started. However, Taiwan has not started. But it says that when Taiwan starts, then Japan and Hawaii quickly follow. So, if we want to know when America is going to fall, the real thing to watch for here is Taiwan. Because once Taiwan gets hit, Japan, Hawaii, and America are apparently quickly hit thereafter. This will keep your military forces head spinning, and while all eyes are upon your once great nation of America, of Babylon, and China, then Putin of Russia, the bear will strike. He begin the first strike upon your land using various weapons, the power of the nuclei, the nuclear weapons, including his hypersonic Satan weapon. Now let's jump to Dmitry Duduman. Back in April 22, 1996, I prayed and went to bed, but I was still awake. Suddenly, I heard a trumpet sound, and a voice cried out, saying, "Stand!" In my vision, I was in America. I walked out of my home, began to look for one that had spoken to me. As I looked, I saw 3 men dressed alike. 2 of the men carried weapons. One of them armed, came to me and said, "I woke you to show you what is to come." He said, "Come with me." I didn't know where we were being taken, but when I reached a certain place, he said, "Stop here. Stand there, don't move, and look." He continued, "You will see what they are saying and what they're preparing for America." As I was looking, I saw a great light. A dark cloud appeared over it. I saw the president of Russia, a short, chubby man. Now, this might be a representative of Russia, or it may be that Putin does die, as one of the prophecies said he would, and maybe this is his replacement. We don't know. And hopefully this is many years in the future, though I think it's probably like, I'm guessing, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's just a guess. I don't know. I saw the president of Russia, a short, chubby man, who he said was the president of China. Now, there's 2 questions in this, and I wish Dmitry was here where I could ask him and get it clarified. Is it saying I saw the president of Russia, which was a short, chubby man? Or is it saying I saw the president of Russia, as in period, then I saw a short, chubby man who said he was the president of China? Well, neither one of them are short, chubby men right now. So again, that's a question. But I don't know that it's this question that really changes things. The last two also said where they were from, but I didn't understand. However, I gathered they were part of some kind of Russian-controlled territory. The men stepped out of the cloud. The Russian president began to speak at the Chinese one, saying, I'll give you the land with all the people, but you must free Taiwan of the Americans. Do not fear. We will attack them from behind. Then a voice said to me, watch where the Russians penetrate America. I saw the words being written, Alaska, Minnesota, Florida. Then the man spoke again and said, when America goes to war with China, the Russians will strike with that warning. Now, was that the leader of Russia or America when he says the man spoke again? Or was that one of the angels speaking? Again, this is the second question, because it goes on to say the other two presidents spoke. So that kind of makes me think it's an angel. Okay, so if it's an angel, when America goes to war with China, the Russians will strike without warning. Okay, well, that's not what Dmitry will see. I mean, there's some questions about this. Dmitry is told the fall of America will start with an internal revolution in America started by the communists. Some of the people will start fighting against the government. The government will be busy with their internal problems. Then from the oceans, Russia, Cuba, Nicaragua, Central America, and two of the countries I can't remember will attack and defeat America in 1 hour. Then, now here's the question. God will raise up China, Japan, and many of the nations. They'll go against the Russians. They'll defeat the Russians. They'll back the Russians to the gates of Paris where they sign a peace treaty, but they make the Russians their leader. Now, sounds to me like in that version, China is going to be on America's side. So I don't know if this is all the same war or maybe this is years apart. I don't know. It's a question, and I don't suppose we're going to get that question answered this side of eternity. Look at it carefully. So the voice said, that would be the angel. Then I saw the words being written. Then the man spoke again. So it sounds like it is the angel saying when America goes to war with China, okay, but the other angel told Dmitry that China, Japan, and many other nations will go against the Russians. So I don't know if this is a different conflict. This maybe we're not talking about the same event. Again, it's a question. I don't know the answer. We too will fight for you. Each had a place already planned as the point of attack. All of them shook their hands and hugged. Then they all signed a contract. One of them said, we're sure Korea and Cuba will be on our side. Without doubt, together we can destroy America. So probably Korea is one of the other nations. We already know Cuba is one of them. The president of Russia began to speak consistently. Why let ourselves be led by the Americans? Why not rule the world ourselves? They have to be kicked out of Europe too. Then I can do with Europe what I please. Now, here's the other question. The man standing beside me, this would be the angel, said, this is what you saw. They act as friends, and they say they respect the treaties made together. But, everything I've shown you is how it will really happen. Well, what did he show him? He said that China, Japan, and many of the nations will go against the Russians. So what it's saying is, this is what they plan, but this is the way it's going to really happen. So I tend to think that China and Japan are going to go against Russia. Now, I don't know how that happens. Again, there's questions with this. There's questions. Let's move on. So the angel went on to say, I'm the protector of America. America's sin has reached God. He will allow this destruction, for he can no longer stand such wickedness. God, however, still has people that worship him with a clean heart as they do his work. He has prepared a heavenly army to save these people. Now, I read this the other day, so it's an army. I'll skip this. Go on to the next one. Run out of time. Russian nuclear submarine armed with doomsday weapon disappears from Arctic harbor. This was reported back in 2022, but I want to read it again because a top-of-the-line Russian nuclear-powered submarine has gone missing from its harbor in the Arctic. Russia may be planning to test Belgorod's Poseidon weapons system, which is a drone, doesn't have people in it, equipped with a nuclear bomb, and Russia's claimed it's capable of creating a radioactive tsunami, and if it's detonated at a depth of 1 kilometer near a coastal city, Russia claims that it can create a 1,600-foot wave that smashes into the coast and radiates it. A Department of Defense insider once told me back in June 2022 that Russia is moving troops into Nicaragua. So now we have Russian troops into Nicaragua, and this says Russia is now pulling up more of its population to become part of the military. This one says they're moving troops, Russia's now moving troops into Cuba, which was the very thing that President Kennedy would not allow that almost caused nuclear war back in 1962. According to military experts, this could mean the return of Russia to Cuba. Covert intel indicates that cargo ships in Russia with a pre-filed transit route to Cuba seem to be in the process of being loaded with components from Russian missile manufacturing factories. In other words, if you look at all of this, it looks to me like there's a very good possibility that the war is really getting close. Not yet, but it's getting close. In this scenario, the thing to watch for is an attack on Taiwan. Because once the attack on Taiwan hits, apparently the rest of the dominoes fall pretty quickly. Now, what's pretty quickly? Is that weeks, days, or maybe it's even stretches out for months? I doubt it stretches out for years. But the point is, today we're talking about Taiwan. When we see Taiwan attacked, the fall of America is getting very close. Now, this is the offer that I suggest you get. Each one of these 5 DVDs, 2.5 hours each about, used to be offered for $30. Right now, you can get all 5 of them at prophecyclub.com, the DVDs, for a gift of $100. But the better deal would be for you to go to to watch Prophecy Club right here. Watch prophecyclub.com. If you'll enter the promo code TPC 2023, you'll get the first month free. Means you can watch all 5 of these for free. What a deal, huh? And a better deal. Go to the TPC 2023 with a Y at the end. You get a $20 off on the normal $200 annual plan. That's the best deal. This is like $6,000 or $7,000 worth of DVDs. Took us 25 years to make them, all at watchprophecyclub.com. Did you get that? Watch instantly at watchprophecyclub.com. I suggest you not only go to prophecyclub.com, you not only want to just get this book here, which is what we're talking about today, God's Warnings to America. One's $20, but don't get one. Get 5 for $30. That's a better deal. That way you got 4 to give away to your friends. Because you start reading this, you're going to want to give it away to other people. Now, here's a better deal. So I've written 4 of these books. I wrote this one. I wrote Daniel, Tribulation Secrets of Daniel, and Miss the Mark, and also Understand Bible Prophecy, Secret Door. I compiled this one. These are prophecies that I gathered from these people, though I think there's only one from me. So, I didn't write it. I just compiled it, printed it, paid for it to be printed so that you can have a copy of it. However, what the very, very best deal, I think maybe the best we've ever had at the Prophecy Club in 30 years, this one is How Pre-Trib Won. This one is explaining to you how the truth beat the lie. How is it that the truth of the fact that there's not a pre-trib rapture lost the match, and everybody believes there's going to be a pre-trib rapture? How did that happen? And then I also go in and give you the scriptures, very plainly and simply lay it out for you, and I show you why there's not going to be a pre-trib rapture. Then this book is the Tribulation Secrets in Daniel. It's where I take verse by verse part of Daniel. Don't need the whole book. This is the part of Daniel that as a last days Christian, you need to know and understand. Then Miss the Mark. This has actually turned out to be a very, very popular book because the whole point is to convince people not to take the mark of the beast. Now, Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy, this one is, it's not complicated, but it's deep. This is teaching you how to understand Bible prophecy. Whereas Miss the Mark, this is for the person that maybe not even a Christian. They're certainly not a prophecy student. They probably don't know much about the Bible at all. But this one is a book that you hand to someone. You don't know about the mark of the beast? Well, here, read this. And if they'll read the first page or two, they won't put it down. They'll read the whole thing. And if they read the whole thing, whatever happens, they will not take that mark of the beast. And it has pictures of what the mark of the beast actually looks like. And as a matter of fact, we're in the process of getting it also translated into Spanish. Next is, I'll send you to EMPShield.com. If you use the promo word prophecy, you get a $50 discount. What is that? Well, it looks like this. This is the one that goes into a car, okay? And you put the red wire to the red side of the battery, you put the black wire to the black side of the battery, and the green one attaches to the body of the car. Then you peel it off right back here. Just peel that off, stick it inside of the engine compartment of your car, and the whole point is when the electricity goes off or when some kind of a suitcase nuclear device goes off, this is supposed to be able to stop that device from destroying every computer chip in your car. Because if every computer chip is destroyed in your car these days, you couldn't possibly replace them all. Throw the car away. So, EMPShield.com, promo code prophecy. Also, I want to recommend that you get my Watchman package. I haven't talked about this in a while, but I got them right here. In this Watchman's package, you get 2 of these 2-foot by 3-foot big charts. Okay, that's one chart. Let me show you the other chart here. And here's the other chart. So these great big charts, 2-foot by 3-foot charts, and they are they're vinyl. They're very nice. Put them up on the wall, 2-foot by 3-foot, and I've got them right here. Of course, it's just 8.5 by 14 charts, so I can refer to them. But if I had a wall a little closer to me, I'd put these up here. Also, you get my handwritten book of Revelation. This is where I hand wrote out the book of Revelation all the way through it, all of the scriptures, and I memorized it. Now, all of this has all of my notes in it. Here, let me pick a page that has some notes. If you see out in the margin there, it has notes. What I think these scriptures are talking about. And then, last year, I did a School of the Watchman. And it was like 18 hours, I think it was. It's on 5 DVDs. We're putting all that together with 5 copies of my very powerful book, Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy. It's valued at $355 for a gift of $200. You get both charts, you get the 5 discs, you get my book and my book. My book and my book. All for a gift of $200. Very, very good deal.